In chapter 17, one of the angels who hold the 7 bowls comes to Yohanan and says, we read about this in verse 1. Come, I will show you the sentencing of the great prostitute who sits on many waters. Then the angel states in the next verse, this is verse 2. The earth kings committed sexual immorality with her, and those who dwell on the earth got drunk with the wine of her immorality. After that, Yohanan is carried to a wilderness where he sees a woman sitting on a scarlet beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. On the forehead of this woman was written a name, a mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and the detestable things of the earth. Furthermore, the woman is drunk with the blood of God's followers. This is a very interesting woman and a very interesting vision. The angel provides an interpretation of the vision. However, this interpretation hardly brings any clarity. Try to read this. It's unclear, and because of this, many theologians are still debating what the vision can mean. Nevertheless, some elements of the vision can be interpreted with certainty, and this is what we will try to do today. So let's try to interpret things which are clear. First, Yohanan sees a woman. We encountered a symbol of a woman earlier in chapter 12. I have a question. Do these women represent the same person or different persons? It's a good question. On the one hand, the answer is obvious. There are 2 different women. But on the other hand, the answer is not that simple. How can this be? Yes, it is possible that this is the same woman. If we look back and examine the spiritual condition of Jerusalem before the Babylonian captivity, we will see that Jerusalem turned to idols and was harshly rebuked by God. For example, we may open Jeremiah chapter 4 verse 30 and read, "And you, O desolate one, what will you do? Though you dress in scarlet, though you adorn yourself with gold ornaments." Sounds very familiar, huh? "Though you enlarge your eyes with paint in vain. You make yourself beautiful. Your lovers despise you. They seek your life." Prophets refer to Jerusalem as a harlot many times. It was done because people didn't want to practice biblical worship, but instead they imported pagan cults from the surrounding nations. It looks like similar things happen in the book of Revelation. First, we encounter a woman clothed in the sun. However, later we see the harlot. Amazing, astonishing, but this is true. Church history confirms this interpretation. The Apostolic Church had some issues. However, the majority of early Christians put their life at risk or even died to become disciples of the Messiah. Later, the church was accepted by the emperor and became a part of Roman politics. and the clean woman became a harlot, exactly as Jerusalem was accused of being a prostitute. From a persecuted apostolic church, Christianity turned into a medieval monster, physically destroying all those who disagree. Only a small remnant of God's faithful children remained faithful to God. This is the sad reality. According to verse 15, the harlot is sitting on waters that represent peoples and nations. This means that the false religious system rests on the support of the population of the earth. Almost everybody, virtually everybody supports that. The beast with its head and horns represents the political powers of the world. There were many attempts to identify particular rulers and empires, and the majority of them were not convincing. But why are we given these visions of Yohanan if some of them cannot be interpreted? That's a great question. And the answer is God gives many prophecies to demonstrate that He knows the end from the beginning. At the same time, knowing some fine details may be harmful to us. That's why God hides some details of prophecies. Even if we cannot understand everything, we may identify the core idea of any prophecy in the Bible. And this is what we should do. We should identify understandable things. Our series is titled Revelation of Hope. Do we have hope in this chapter? Where is our hope? The harlot seems to be very powerful. She is supported by the rulers and the kings. Yes, her powerful behavior intimidates us. However, in Revelation 17 verse 14 we read, "They will make war against the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, because He is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and those with Him are called and chosen and faithful." The Lamb will not fight in person. The harlot will suffer a crushing and very ironic defeat. In Revelation chapter 17 verse 16 we read, "The 10 horns that you saw and the beast, these will hate the prostitute. They will make her desolate and naked and devour her flesh and burn her up with fire." The friends of the harlot will become her enemies, and this is the irony. God will use them to punish Babylon. Verse 17 continues, "For God has put it into their hearts to do His will, and to be of one mind, and to give their royal power to the beast, until the words of God are fulfilled." This is a great lesson, friends. We may be obedient to God, and in this case, we will do His will. We may be disobedient to God like those kings, and in this case, we will do His will anyway, like they do. Both the righteous and the sinners do His will. But the end will be very, very different. The righteous will inherit the New Jerusalem, whereas the sinners will go to the eternal fire. It is better to be obedient and to fulfill the words of God, being the true worshippers.